I just love a great horror movie, and finding a new gem is awesome. Today, maybe I can help you discover a new gem. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and other nerdy things we enjoy. Today, just the father, Jim, here with you as I'm talking about horror movies, something Zach really doesn't care too much about. I'm going to bring to you 9 films that I don't think enough people speak about that might not have caught your attention at all. I hope you're going to enjoy these. I think most horror fans will enjoy all of these movies if they check them out. I hope you also enjoy this video and you'll show me by hitting like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. And if you want more horror film content, horror literature, anything, put it in the comment box and I'll work on it for you because again, Zach's not gonna. So here are 9 flicks that I'm going to share with you now. I've enjoyed all of these, and I'm going to give you just enough details to help you know whether you might want to check them out or not. There will not be any major spoilers here, just some basic details of these movies. And I do hope you check them out. I'm not ranking these. You know I like to rank things. I'm holding back here for you. I want you to make up your own mind. But I am going to list them by order of when they came out, their release date in the theater, because these all had box office releases, and I'm just going by the year that they came out. The first one is the only one that's really quite a ways back, but not super far. I'm just going to the 80s, and that would be Reanimator, which came out in 1985, a horror comedy with a sci-fi twist. Lead actors include Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Abbott, and Barbara Crampton. This movie, decent financial success. It was made on a budget of approximately $900,000 and grossed around $2 million worldwide, so a little more than doubled what they put into it. Overall ratings are very positive. IMDb, which is where I'm getting the fan ratings from, gives it a 7.2 out of 10. But over on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics say 94% fresh. So there's some good stuff to this movie. What is it about? Herbert West, an ambitious medical student, develops a serum that can reanimate dead tissue. Enlisting the help of his roommate, Dan Kane, they conduct experiments that spiral out of control, leading to horrific and unintended consequences. Their endeavors attract the attention of Dr. Hill, who has his own sinister plans for the reagent. This film is loosely based on H.P. Lovecraft's serialized novella, Herbert West, Reanimator. You can see where they got the name. This movie, it has gained a cult following for its blend of horror and dark humor. Jeffrey Combs is incredible in it. This film includes over-the-top gore and special effects, which for their time was completely groundbreaking. Who might like this? Well, it certainly appeals to any fans of 1980s horror, black, dark comedy, and films that have attracted a cult following. You might want to get in on this. It's particularly beloved by those who enjoy practical effects, as opposed to CGI, and a self-aware, playful approach to horror tropes. It's just a good time. For number 2, we're going to jump to the 90s. It's the only one from this decade, and I have the 1997 film The Relic. Very different tone than Reanimator. This is a sci-fi horror thriller. Lead actors include Penelope Ann Miller, Tom Sizemore, and Linda Hunt. This was produced on a budget of $40 million, and it grossed $48 million. So, do the math. It only made $8 million. Fans give it a rating of 5.8 out of 10, and the critics, only 33% approve. So it's not necessarily beloved by people, but I like this movie, and it has some real things going for it. What's it about? A mysterious creature is unleashed in the Chicago Field Museum, causing a series of gruesome deaths. Now, that might impact my love for it. I grew up in Chicago. The Field Museum is my favorite museum in the entire world. As the museum prepares for a grand exhibition, evolutionary biologist Dr. Margot Green and Detective Vincent DaGosta team up to uncover the origin of the creature and stop its deadly rampage. This film is based on the novel Relic by Douglas Preston and Linda Child. Museum scenes were actually filmed at the Field Museum in Chicago, which is just awesome. The creature effects were spectacular, and partly because they were designed by the renowned Stan Winston studio, famous for its practical and CGI effects in later films. They've put out material such as the Terminator franchise, Predator, Aliens, even the practical versions of Iron Man's armor in the first Iron Man film. Thank you, Stan Winston Studios. Who would like this one? Well, it has created a loyal following for its atmospheric setting, practical effects, and a mix of science and superstition. It definitely appeals to fans of monster movies. You like your creature feature, you want to check out The Relic, but also those who appreciate a tense, investigative thriller. Number three, fantastic movie. We're jumping to 2005 now for The Descent, another horror thriller. Lead actors include Shauna McDonald, Natalie Mendoza, and Alex Reed. This one, this is a big financial success. Budget of just about 3.5 million, but it grossed around 57 million. I mean, do that math. Woohoo! The fans give it a 7.2 out of 10 rating. The critics, 86% positive. Very nice. What's this about? A group of 6 women embark on a caving expedition in the Appalachian Mountains. Trapped underground after a cave-in, they discover they are not alone and must navigate both the treacherous cave system and the deadly creatures lurking within. The film was praised for its all-female cast, except the creatures, and intense claustrophobic atmosphere. I enjoy watching it. I would not want to be in it. Director Neil Marshall chose to use practical effects and minimal CGI to enhance the realism. The creatures, known as crawlers, they will freak you out. They were all portrayed by actual actors in full-body prosthetics. The Descent is lauded for its strong character dynamics. Oh, the tension between those women is something else. And its ability to balance slow-building suspense with intense, gory action. It appeals to fans of atmospheric, adrenaline-pumping horror that explores both physical and psychological fears. And there are some jump scares. It also has 2 different endings, so be sure to find both of them. Number 4 of my 9 films, very much on the lighter side, Tucker and Dale versus Evil from 2010. This is another horror comedy. Lead actors Tyler Labine, Alan Tudyk, and Katrina Bowden. This had a budget of $5 million and grossed around $5.2 million. So that's like just eking out getting what we put into it, and then, $200,000 extra. So in general, people are happy. I'm sure they wished it made more. I don't know why it didn't. It's delightful. The fans give it a 7.5 out of 10 rating, and the critics, 85% positive. There's a lot of good in this film. What's it about? Affable hillbillies, Tucker and Dale, head to their dilapidated mountain cabin, the place of their dreams, for a peaceful vacation. Misunderstandings lead a group of college students who are also trying to camp nearby. They come to believe that the hillbillies are murderous backwoods folk, resulting in a series of tragic and comedic accidents. All huge misunderstandings. Seriously, you cannot believe what keeps happening. The film cleverly subverts traditional horror tropes, presenting the hillbillies as protagonists. It has gained a cult following. I'm one of them, for its unique blend of humor and horror. I actually bought this movie. It's that good. Director Eli Craig aimed to challenge stereotypes commonly seen in horror films, and I believe he achieves brilliance in how he was able to poke fun at and celebrate horror simultaneously. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is perfect for fans of horror who also love comedy, as well as those who enjoy clever twists on genre cliches. Its mix of heart, humor, and creative deaths, you gotta see it to believe it, makes it a standout in the horror comedy subgenre. I made Zach watch this with me. Made's maybe harsh, I don't know, but he definitely enjoyed it as well. For number 5, my halfway point on this list, I bring you The Belko Experiment from 2016. This is another horror thriller, packed with action. Lead actors include John Gallagher Jr., Tony Goodwin, and Adria Arjona. Budget of approximately $5 million. It grossed a little over double that, about $11 million worldwide. 6.1 out of 10 from the fans, 54% from the critics. They don't always know what they're talking about. Okay, those are both actually fairly close scores. I really was surprised by and enjoyed this movie. What's it about? Well, employees of the Belco Corporation are trapped in their office building and ordered by an unknown voice to participate in a deadly game of kill or be killed. Just a bunch of office workers. As tensions rise, alliances form and break, revealing the darker sides of human nature. The film satirizes office dynamics and corporate hierarchies, emphasizing suspense and shock value while exploring human psychology. The screenplay was written by James Gunn. You might know that name from the Guardians of the Galaxy film. This film explores themes of corporate culture and human behavior under extreme stress. It was shot in Bogota, Colombia, which added some authenticity to the film setting. The Belko experiment appeals to fans of survival horror. Other films in this niche would be like Battle Royale or The Hunger Games, but this definitely comes with a grittier and more brutal edge. Its graphic violence and psychological tension cater to audiences who enjoy thought provoking, morally ambiguous scenarios paired with visceral thrills. For my sixth entry, I bring you Train to Busan from 2016, a beautiful zombie apocalypse thriller. My son would be going, "Beautiful, Dad? Really?" Yeah, I love these kind of movies. And this one's way up there. Lead actors include people whose names I cannot pronounce, but I'm going to try: Gong Yu, Ma Dong Seok, and Young Yumi. Budget about 8.5 million. It did a little better than that in the box office. 98 million. Okay, there's a reason. This movie rocks. The fans give it a 7.6 out of 10 rating, but critics, 94%. It is a technically almost perfectly crafted movie. This movie's about a father and his estranged daughter who get on a train to Busan amid a sudden zombie outbreak in South Korea. I mean, this thing comes out of nowhere and goes off on steroids. As the infection then also gets on the train and rapidly starts to spread through, passengers must fight for survival and confront their own humanity as they do so. The film was a major box office success and revitalized the zombie genre in South Korean cinema. It inspired a standalone sequel that I've not yet seen, Peninsula, which was released in 2020. The film's intense action sequences and emotional depth received widespread acclaim. Train to Busan appeals to both fans of zombie horror and those looking for an emotionally engaging story. I mean, there's some moments that just tear at the heart. Its blend of visceral thrills and heartfelt drama make it accessible even to viewers who really aren't typical fans of the zombie genre. I was easier to hit because bring on the zombies, and this does it so nicely. Number 7, from 2016, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is a supernatural horror thriller and one of the more recent horror movies I've actually caught. Lead actors include Brian Cox, Emil Hirsch, and Ophelia Lovibond. This had a budget of $2 million, grossed around $6 million. So again, a commercial success. It tripled what they put into it. Fans give it a 6.8 out of 10 rating. The critics, 87%. Another highly appreciated film. A father-son team of coroners is tasked in this movie with performing an autopsy on a mysterious, unscathed female corpse, a Jane Doe. As they delve deeper, unexplainable phenomena occur, revealing the corpse's dark secrets. The investigation spirals into a fight for survival against malevolent, supernatural forces. I believe one of the reasons viewers don't rate this as strongly as they should, I think, is because it's a little bit of a slow burn to get going as it leans into setting the mood. But once it starts really hitting, bam, 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 bam. The film's realistic autopsy scenes were enhanced by using a real actor, Olwen Kelly, to play the corpse for most shots. This wasn't just a dummy created, a prop. It's the real person. Director Andre Overdahl wanted to combine procedural elements with supernatural horror in this film, so it feels very authentic while that's completely impossible. The Autopsy of Jane Doe appeals to fans of atmospheric horror and psychological tension. Its mix of procedural mystery and supernatural horror make it a unique entry in the genre. It is celebrated for its tight narrative, strong performances, particularly by Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, and the eerie presence of Jane Doe herself, who remains both a mystery and a source of fear throughout the story. Number 8, One Cut of the Dead, a 2017 film that is a zombie comedy film with strong horror elements. Lead actors include Takayuki Hamatsu, Yozuki Akiyama, and Harumi Shohama. If you can't tell from the names, this is a Japanese film. The budget, $25,000. That's it. $25,000. And then it grossed $30 million worldwide. Okay, there's something here, people. There's something here. And man, this movie blew me away. The viewers gave it a 7.6 out of 10 rating. Critics, 100%. 100% score. This is considered a perfectly delivered movie. I'm not sure how you get a score like that. The summary of this movie is you're watching a low-budget zombie film's production when it is interrupted by an actual zombie outbreak. What starts as a straightforward survival story becomes a layered comedic exploration of filmmaking. This movie is a heartfelt tribute to creativity, teamwork, and the joy of storytelling. The movie's 37-minute opening sequence is one of the things that makes it so unique. It is a single, unbroken take. Do you know anything about films? Literally, 37 straight minutes where the camera keeps rolling with no break, no cutaway, nothing. And it's perfect. It's like, wow. And then there's more. I did not realize what I was watching in that first 37 minutes, and then the movie becomes something completely different. It became an international sensation, partly because of that 37-minute take, but in great part because of where the movie goes from there. And despite its very modest budget and initial limited release, people found this movie, and One Cut of the Dead appeals to fans of comedy, horror, and anyone who loves behind-the-scenes insights into filmmaking. Its creative narrative structure and genuine charm make it a standout, even for those who aren't typically horror fans. The movie has achieved widespread acclaim for its originality, humor, and heart, becoming a sleeper hit, and I'm telling you, a must-watch for cinephiles and horror genre enthusiasts alike. Now, the last movie on the list is a very different type. It's just so wacko and unique, I gotta put it out here. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, came out in 2023. I found out about this movie because of an actual news article. A fifth grade teacher showed this to the kids in his class because they won a reward and got to pick a movie, and one of the kids picked this. I believe the teacher got fired. And should have. This is a genuine slasher horror. Lead actors include Nikolai Leon, Craig David Dowsett, and Chris Cordell. It was produced on a budget of only $100,000. Practically nothing in movie making, yet it grossed around $4.5 million. That's a pretty decent return. They do have a sequel in the works now. The viewers give it a rating of only 3.3, and the critics, 3%. It's not really a good movie. It has some moments, but overall, I don't know, it's more, I'm putting down this list because it's just something, if you're a horror fan, you kind of should experience. Now, here's the deal of the story. After being abandoned by Christopher Robin, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet become feral and vengeful. They terrorize a group of young women staying in a remote cabin, embarking on a bloody rampage. A twisted reimagining of beloved childhood characters in a brutal slasher setting is what you get in this flick. Now, this film capitalized on the original Winnie the Pooh stories as they entered the public domain in 2022. You can have fun with this content now, and boy, do they ever. It received significant buzz online for its absurd concept, but was criticized for its poor execution. The film is geared toward fans of horror and slasher genres who appreciate campy, low budget productions with outrageous premises. It's delivering exactly what it intends to deliver. It's not trying to win an Oscar. It also appeals to those curious about unconventional adaptations of familiar stories. This is a true twisting and inverting of the Winnie the Pooh story. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey received mixed to negative reviews for its execution, but it has garnered attention for being such a novelty horror concept. That's why it's on my list. And the unique twist on a classic intellectual property that has just entered the public domain. We do have other examples in the horror genre, things like Silent Night, Deadly Night, where they've taken things that are just generally known and beloved to lots of people, and let's make a horror film out of it. But this one, Winnie the Pooh, man, I'm wondering what's next. I know why Disney renewed its Mickey Mouse claims. Because can you imagine when those go horror? Well, that's what I have for you today. How many of these have you seen already? What are your thoughts on them? Share those in the comment box. And what other horror gems would you like to share that you don't hear people talking about much? Maybe I haven't even seen them. Put them again in the comment box. And if you want to see, again, more horror-related comment, don't forget to mention it in the comment box. While you're thinking about those things, a like, a subscribe, and hitting that notification bell, we'd appreciate all of those. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.